What is up, everyone? It's Gage here. Welcome to Youbucthat. And today I'm with my co-host, Kim Filler. And today, well, guys, as you know, there's not really too many, but you know what, before I get into football, before I get into that, as you guys know, you might have saw on Twitter or Facebook, but a couple of days ago, my dad actually went to the hospital. He had some kidney failure, he had ammonia, and I actually thought I was going to say goodbye to my dad. You know, he was not. They say he wasn't looking very good. And he's doing a lot better. He's having some heart problems. His heart's very weak right now, but hopefully I hear some good news about that today. But guys, thank you so much. It's been a very challenging couple of days, and I'm just grateful for everyone's support and prayers. I love this community. I love making content for you guys every day, and it's been a great deal to me. And I just want to thank you guys. I'm very grateful to be in this community, and not going to ask for better. So thank you guys. It's been a lot to me. And now, speaking of football, we're going to be talking about Samurai Alley. He put a post on. I put a poll. Usually I don't talk about these things, but it's very interesting what he put on. There's 4 Hall of Fame players, and if you could take out one, what would you do? Because it's very hard. These guys are legends. Derek Brooks, Sapp, John Lynch, or Rondé Barber. So I love all these guys, so it's very hard to pick. Like, which one could you win a Super Bowl without and have longevity as a Buccaneers franchise?
Well, as you alluded to, they were all very important pieces in that Buccaneer defense in the early 2000s, and they all had a hand in helping the Bucs win the championship. For me, it started with Warren Sapp. You have to keep Warren Sapp.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
He's the guy that gets pressure on the quarterback, is the disruptor in the trenches, and can cause havoc along the line of scrimmage. So Warren Sapp, in my opinion, he has to stay. So now we're down to 3: Rondé Barber, Derek Brooks, and John Lynch. I think you keep Derek Brooks. Derek Brooks was the kind of the quarterback of the defense, linebacker, captain, called some of the defensive plays, kind of rallied the troops, good leader in the locker room. So you got to keep Derek Brooks. I think you keep Rondé Barber as well, and by elimination, then John Lynch is out. Rondé Barber.
I love John.
Yeah, I do too. It's kind of like, which child do you like best? You have 4 children. Which one do you like best?
Yeah, it's very hard because you love them all, but it's like, oh God, yeah. Damn, you're gonna have to pick them apart just to see, because they're all amazing.
Barber was the guy that got that pick in Philadelphia that returned it for a touchdown. Sent the Bucs.
I believe it was Rondé Barber.
What's that?
I believe it was Rondé Barber that returned that
Barber. Yeah. That's why I think you got to keep him. You got to keep him, as one of those 4. And then John Lynch. John Lynch was a great player in the secondary. Good coverage guy. He was really known for just blowing up people. In today's NFL, I don't know if Lynch would be as successful as he was back in the day, because the NFL is just like society today. It's gotten so soft. I mean, you put a finger on some guy, he goes down, and you're getting a flag for 15 yards. And Lynch didn't play football that way. I mean, he brought it every single play. And if you were coming into his territory there and you were catching the football, there was a price you were going to pay for that. That wouldn't work as well in today's NFL. So I don't know that Lynch would have the same kind of success today if he was playing that he did, back then. So by process of elimination, I think it starts with Sapp. Brooks was the kind of the quarterback of the defense, good leader in the locker room. Barber, very consistent, started a lot of games. I think he holds the record for most consecutive starts by a Buccaneer player. And then you have John Lynch. But they're all great players, all deserving of the accolades, all deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. But for argument's sake, I think John Lynch is the odd man out.
Yeah, I love John's my guy, and I love him. So it's really tough to say that, but yeah, if you're looking at all four of them, John's the one. Logically, it's John. You can't. Rondé Barber, all those guys all of them are very key pieces, but John is the odd man out on that one. And the only safety that reminds me of John, like the very hard hitter, is Harrison Smith. That dude can fucking knock someone out.
Yeah. Yeah, he has the same style of game, but you have to play with a little bit of a controlled measure today.
Yeah.
Back when John Lynch was playing, you didn't have to worry about that. I mean, you could hit as hard as you wanted, wherever you wanted, and hopefully there was no serious injuries after the hit, but it was kind of like a wild west. Every man for himself. You come into my territory on the field, there's a price to pay. And
that's why they get paid millions. You know what I mean?
What's that?
That's why they get paid millions for their entertainment, and obviously they have a lot of risk. The higher to pay, the more risk you take. And I think we kind of lost. Oh yeah, they signed a contract. They could get brain damage. They could get this. They could get that. It comes with the job. It's okay to protect the players, make sure they don't die, but like to the point where you can't even get touched. Like everyone's making jokes about now. Oh yeah, got to put a pillow for the quarterback when you tackle him.
Yeah,
like it's insane.
Put a skirt on him. Yeah.
Hey, don't touch him. Don't ever touch him.
Right.
Okay, first of all, you gotta lightly tap him. Okay, and then when you tackle him, put a pillow on the ground so he doesn't get hit too much.
Yes.
Lay him down very gently.
Yes.
And it's like, dude, what the fuck is this, dude? Are we playing flag football or what's going on here?
You forgot the part where you need to bring a blanket out and cover him up.
I knew I was forgetting something. It's just crazy how much even the past 10 years have changed. Like,
oh yeah, and I think it's going to get worse. They're experimenting now with the kickoff rules to try to eliminate some injuries. I mean,
oh Jesus!
What's next? Let's put flags on the kick returners, and you can't be going over 5 miles an hour when you hit some guy on the return team. I mean, come on, it's getting really crazy and really ludicrous. And in 20 years, I don't know if we'll recognize the game of football the way it's played now.
Dude, if it keeps getting worse, man. Like, I love football. You guys know I'm a fanatic of football, but if it gets to the point where we're not even tackling people, it's not even really football. Yeah. I might just stop watching. Like, honestly,
I'm out.
Like, that's the point. I have that's just disrespectful to the game of football. All these guys who died 100 years have sacrificed their body and lives for this game, and now we're just making it to where it's recognizable. It's insane. I pray it doesn't turn out that way. Hopefully they start to realize that, okay, maybe we're doing too much. But it's up to the people. The people are the ones that are watching. They're the ones that are putting the money in. So really it's up to the society and the people. Like, if we start hey, this is crazy, we can't let football turn this way, or football won't be football anymore. So really it's not just up to the officials, it's up to the fans and the people. Yeah. So it's really up to all of us to make a stand against that if that does happen in the future. But that's,
we're the ones paying the salaries. Absolutely, we're the ones that have to voice our opinion, and they'll have to pay attention to us eventually.
Yeah, it's because everything matters. The fans, the players, everything, and and I'm sure the players won't be happy if it went to that way. There's going to be a lot of players that are not going to be happy with that. They're going to be, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why there's two other options now. You have the XFL and you have the USFL.
Yeah.
So if the
I'm
NFL
not a big fan of the USFL, but the XFL, I love XFL, man. It's a very hard hitting game.
Mm-hmm. NFL continues to, you know, want to change the rules up that we've embraced and we've watched football with for so long, then one of these leagues are going to step in and run with the ball, and they'll say, hey, we're playing football 1980 style. Come on over and give us a watch. We think you'll be impressed with the way we play football. So
I think it's
think
gonna be the XFL. Like,
yeah
they already got a lot of sponsorships from Disney and all everything like that. Dwayne Johnson's involved.
yeah
I think it's gonna be a very big league. Now they're still starting up. It's gonna take them a minute, but I think
yeah
it's gonna be a very popular league in the future.
Yeah, I think so. And, a lot of it has to do with marketing and promotion. And, I think The Rock's one of the perfect guys to do that, because he had a monster career, in wrestling, and, he played the game of football. So he's kind of bringing both aspects together, the football piece and the marketing piece that you need for a new league to really get it in front of the fans and in front of sponsors, and really have that league take off.
Yeah, 100%. It's and Dwayne Johnson, he's a perfect thing because XFL didn't have that before. Not really. Even the last two times, they never really had that. Very
No,
good marketing.
right.
And because I never heard XFL 2001 until someone mentioned it to me when I started watching the 2.0. And this league, I think it's going to turn out well. Like, I know I've interviewed a couple of players from the XFL. They love it, how they do everything. They're a big fan of how they run the whole organization. The whole league.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the potential of the XFL. I'm going to be watching them next season. It's going to be even better because now they're coming out with jerseys, everything like that. So it's only going to keep going up.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. And the USFL, I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's going to last. I don't think it will. Just like they have commercials and everything like that, but their marketing just isn't there, in my opinion. And I think eventually players are going to be more drawn to the XFL because I feel like the XFL is going to do a lot better marketing and just how they run the overall league.
Well, you could be right, but the USFL has a lot deeper pockets than the XFL, because they're, I think, partially owned by Fox. USFL, the Fox Broadcasting Corporation. I think they own the USFL, so they're good for the next couple of years, unless they bleed so much money that they say, hey, this is just stupid to keep taking these kind of losses. But I think the USFL will be around for at least a couple of years, and then by the end of year 3, year 4, the fans will be able to differentiate which product they like best. Do they like
Yeah.
the XFL better? Do they like the USFL? And then they'll be able to make determination what they want to do going forward.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think, like by end year 4, they're going to decide which one's going to stay. Because I just don't think both of them could stay. I think it's going to be one or the other. Because I don't think it's ever really worked that way. Not unless they
Yeah.
combine together, but I just don't see that happening.
Well, this is the first year too where they've had two competing leagues. Now, granted, they weren't competing directly against one another, because the XFL starts right after the Super Bowl, and then the USFL doesn't start really till April. But um, spring football, especially with two leagues, is tough. I mean, after the hot summers, people are ready for to watch football. September, October, it starts getting cooler and then cold as you get into October in the northern climates. In the here in the U.S., and people are indoors more. The time changes; the days are getting a lot shorter. In the spring, after the winter, people are looking to get outside. They're not looking to really be inside and sit down and watch a 3-hour football game every Saturday and Sunday. So people's habits are a lot different when it comes to watching TV, in the spring versus the fall. And I think that's another aspect that these spring leagues are going to have to kind of deal with and kind of figure out.
Yeah, that's why I think the XFL does it perfectly. They do it like right in February when it's cold, and by the time it's even over, it's like that's right when spring comes. So I think that's why I think the XFL's doing. I think that's another reason why they're doing it better because like by the time it's even spring, they're already about done.
Yeah, yeah.
The USFL, that's going to be a problem for them. I don't even think they're. I'm not even sure what their TV ratings are right now. 'Cause I'm not sure a whole lot of people are watching it right now.
Yeah, I haven't followed or looked much at the TV ratings, but I know Tampa is supposed to have the Bandits back next year in the USFL.
Yeah, why
You
did
know,
they even
hope,
take that out? It doesn't make sense. Like, I'm like, why would you even take out a team that, like, a lot of people watch because Tampa's a big area, like the
yeah,
one of the top growing cities in America. Like that to me was that's another like that just kind of explains their marketing. It's like, dude, that made no sense at all.
yeah. I didn't understand it. You know, back in the early days of the USFL, the Bandits were one of the better teams. You know, in the league, they drew very well. Um, but you know, last year, you know, everybody played in Birmingham. They didn't even have games at the home stadiums. All the
Yeah,
teams played in one stadium. Now this year, I think they split it up between Birmingham, Memphis, Michigan, and then there were some games in Canton, Ohio, at the at Fawcett Stadium, which hosts the Hall of Fame game. But again, there's only three teams essentially, you know, playing in their home markets. So I think that's going to hurt the USFL too as it goes
oh,
forward.
oh yeah, because teams are you're not going to cheer for a team that's in a whole different state. Like for me, like that's why I love the XFL. Like I could literally go to a game in Orlando, which is only
Mm-hmm.
a few hours away from Florida, where I'm at in the Tampa area, and it was amazing. You know, your fellow fans and everything like that. Who wants to cheer for a team that you can't even really watch because they're in a whole different state? That's another
Well,
thing that you mentioned is going to hurt them a lot if they
yeah.
don't fix that very quickly.
Well, the other thing too is, I mean, let's just say if you're a fan of the Tampa Bay Bandits and they're playing all their games in Birmingham or all their games in Memphis, I mean, you know, it's going to be really hard to to get into the team like the Buccaneers or the Rays or the Lightning because you can't go see them. You don't have any interaction with the players. Um, one thing that I did notice too that I think is really a big deal is the XFL does a much better job at social media than the USFL does. And with social media being such a big thing these days, you have to have some good social media people. You have to have a
Yeah,
large presence, you know, on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever other social media platforms you want to use. And I thought that the USFL did not do a very good job with that this past season, where the XFL did. And I think, you know, as they get into year two, if you want the league to grow, the XFL is going to have to kind of market the players a little bit better. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
they marketed some teams, but I mean I really couldn't tell you hardly anything about any of the
Yeah,
players
yeah.
in the
Same
XFL or
here.
the USFL because you never heard about them. You never heard of it. You watch a game, it's like, okay, yeah, I heard of that guy. He was the third string quarterback for the Giants or the Jets or whoever. So when you're watching the game, you recognize some of the names and the faces, but they need to do a much better job with social media, marketing their players and just putting that out there to
A little bit
create.
more effort because I did not see much with the USFL social media.
I didn't
It
either.
just hasn't really been there. Like the
Mm-hmm.
XFL, they did like the NFL, man. The players are like they're showing when they won a game, they're partying and everything like that. And the reporters, they're like, "Oh, I love these guys." You know, you get more interactions with the players.
Yeah.
Um, and like it's just amazing. Remind me of the NFL almost, like with how the XFL did things. USFL, that's why they just I feel like they're like 10 steps behind the XFL, like with
Right.
many things. And the
Yeah.
XFL just have there. This is the very first season.
Mm-hmm.
So the USFL should be. I hate to call anybody out, but that's embarrassing. That it's your second year and you're getting beat up by a 1 year team, a 1 year league that just came back. So I would USFL needs to start stepping things up
Yeah.
because they have competition now. They can't be doing whatever now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, too, eventually what you'll see is one of these leagues. I don't know which one, but one of these leagues is going to be kind of like a farm league for the NFL. The NBA has the G League or the D League or whatever it is. Baseball has, the minor leagues. Hockey has the minor leagues. Football really does not have a system like that to develop the players. You go from college to the NFL.
Yeah,
And
basically, yeah.
yeah, I think at some point, the NFL and one of these leagues are going to get together and, use that to, develop some of their players, young players, maybe on the practice squad. And the next year, maybe they're playing in the XFL or the USFL as
Yeah,
a starter.
I'm saying. I think it's gonna be XFL because
Yeah.
that's what a lot of players are looking at, man. Like, if I was a player and let's say I didn't get drafted by the Buccaneers or any team, I'm telling you, next thing I'm looking at is the XFL
Yeah.
because they give very great opportunities. Like, I think like 20 players got like tryouts with NFL teams just
Mm-hmm.
from one of the teams. So it's XFL, I think, is going to be great. Obviously, you have the arena leagues, but you only count those because there's like just the
Yeah.
local teams. Like the minor teams, I think XFL could very, very well be that. Like,
Yeah.
what I think with that USFL, I just don't think it's going to last very long. But the XFL, I could see being one of those teams.
Yeah. Yeah. And each team will, maybe, there'll be 4 teams that can put players on each team. So all 32 teams are represented. Yeah, I don't know how they'd figure it out, but
Yeah,
they'd
they
find
figured it out
each
somehow.
team has equal number of represented players, and see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, and yeah, you never know how things will shake out. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I
Um,
am too.
And one topic I want to talk about, and then we'll start finishing up, is Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles,
Mhm.
should he be fired after this season if we don't make the playoffs at minimum?
I think that depends on how
Or
the
I should say, should he be in the hot seat this year? My bad.
yes, yeah, he definitely is on the hot seat. I think he's on the hot seat even before Game 1 against Minnesota, because let's face it, with the greatest player of all time on your roster last season, you were a below 500 team. Now there were a lot of reasons for that, and we've talked, ad nauseum about that. But I think Todd Bowles has to win probably a minimum of 8 to 10 games to keep his job. And if the Bucks start, 1-3, 2-2, and they've got a pretty challenging schedule, right out of the gate.
Oh yeah,
Um, the heat could get turned up on Todd Bowles, very, very quickly. That's why one of the big reasons I think Baker Mayfield is going to be the starting quarterback. If you're a coach and you have to win games and you want to win games to save your job, are you going to go with a guy that has 9 snaps in his career and really hasn't been impressive much at all in those 9 snaps? Or are you going to go with the guy that, hey, he took a team to the playoffs, had a great season, fought through injuries, is a good leader in the clubhouse, has some spark, shows some emotion, is determined to win games? I think Baker and Todd Bowles, I think their careers kind of mirror one another. Everybody's doubting them. Nobody thinks they're going to be any good. People think Baker's going to have a horrible season. Nobody thinks Todd Bowles is going to be a good coach. Everybody thinks he's going to get fired. They think the Bucks are going to win 4 or 5 games this season. So I think that Baker and Bowles, they're kind of kind of in the same boat, kind of rowing the same way. You know, got a lot of chips on their shoulder, and they're going to do their
Career-wise,
best
I would say they're a little different, but their current status as of right now, I would agree. Todd Bowles, I don't think he's on the hot seat this year. The only way he would be on the hot seat if he won 6 games. If he just won, he didn't even get 8 games, then I would say he's on the hot seat. But Todd Bowles, let's think back. Obviously, Tom Brady's greatest quarterback of all time, but we all forget he's 45 years old. The
I know.
man just went for a divorce. Have bad energy. His energy wasn't good. Like he was yelling at all the players. He was kind of a dick the whole season, to be honest. He was not. He was yelling at the players. He was just a fucking tyrant the whole season. Like I like
What
Tom. He
was
did a lot for this team, but his energy wasn't there. Even he yelled at Mike Evans. He's been with the team for 10 years. He's like, Mike ain't doing good enough. Boss, my guy, pretty pro. You're throwing balls like below my fucking legs, bruh. How you expect me to catch that shit? Like,
yeah.
and obviously our offensive line, we dealt with a lot of injuries, everything like that. But you gotta keep in mind, Todd didn't become a head coach until like March. Now, by the time everything was already set up, and he didn't have time to pick his own coaching staff, and Bruce Arians got involved this season because Todd wanted to fire Brian Leftwich, but
Yeah.
Bruce Arians got involved and kept him from firing him.
Yeah.
And it was just a mess. So I don't Todd Bowles. I'm not the biggest fan. You guys all know that, but I'm going to give the man he deserves a fair chance. So I don't think honestly, if he just needs to be a minimum of like 8 to 9 games, and then I think he'll be all right. But next year, I think this year he'll be okay. Next year, I believe he'll be in the hot seat if we don't at least make the playoffs this year. So Todd, I'm not the most confident in him, to be honest. But I look at all things. Tom Brady didn't have very good energy. We brought a lot of veterans. Probably not the best idea, especially since we have a 45-year-old quarterback. And everything, injuries, everything was going on that season. Todd Bowles didn't even have his own coaching staff. Everything followed that season, and I can't blame that on Todd Bowles. I just can't. Like, there's a lot of shit. And Tom Brady, you're not going to tell him what to do. You know what I mean? The guy's he's the greatest quarterback of all time. You just ain't going to do it. So he's going to be the man of the helm, and we all seen how that turned out. And so hopefully this season he can turn. Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield can turn this franchise around.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a couple of questions. Last year's 8-10 record and overall, atmosphere and play on the field, was that more a result of the offense or the defense?
Defense did good. I will say this: I believe the defense. Like if you look at the first half, the defense was doing great, but they get tired out. That second half they started piling on us. The offense, I think the offense. The defense can do so much. It's not like this is a 2001 defense where the defense going to be scoring all the points.
Right.
The offense failed. They failed the defense, and that was the reason why we lost. That was a winnable game. If Tom Brady he was not off target. And I did get a little emotional there. I want to apologize. Don't mean to call anyone a dick or anything. It's just I feel like everyone gives a green ticket to Tom Brady. Everything goes wrong that it's automatically everyone's fault by Tom Brady's. And I love everyone that's a Buccaneers fan. I have love for all those guys. I made jokes about Kyle Trask before, but I love that dude. I love all those guys, but I'm this guy. These are just opinions and perspectives for me and Ken. We're not here to bash anybody. You know what I mean? We love these guys. We're just giving our opinions, everything. So just for anyone that might get a wrong idea, I would tell you that, just get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it was the part of the defense last season, and I'll tell you why. There was no excuse for that 20-3 loss in Carolina. No excuse whatsoever. I mean, there was no aspect of that of the Bucs that played well in that game. And at that time, Carolina was one of the worst teams in the league. And how you let that team put 20 points on you, I don't know. And then later in the season, you're up and down defensively. You go to San Francisco and you just get your ass beat. What was it, 35-7? I mean, I
Yeah,
understand
that was
the 49ers are one of the best teams in the league, but is somebody going
Carolina.
to
I
make
didn't
a play?
understand that. That was unexcusable. It was actually embarrassing. I'm going to be honest right now. I was embarrassed.
And I think and then we get to the playoff game and you allow 30 points, to Dallas at home. And you don't play, I mean, with a lot of fire, a lot of emotion. I mean, it's the playoffs. You're at home.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And I know Todd Bowles was taken away a lot from overseeing the defense because of the stuff that was going on the offense. The offense was horrible. Leftwich, calling the same plays over and over and over, game after game after game, and not being able to produce anything. I get that, but Todd Bowles' specialty is defense, and I thought the defense would have been a little bit better last season than it was, and that's why I have high expectations for the defense this year. Now that we actually have hopefully a decent offensive coordinator,
And he has his own coaching staff. He's able to pick his own guys. And defense didn't do the greatest, but I gotta put some of it on the offense. Offense should have stepped up. Like, I was embarrassed how they played. I was like, guys, why you guys aren't moving the ball? And Brian Leftwich, and you know what? Partially this is on Bruce Arians as well. Bruce Arians forced Brian Leftwich to be there. We want him gone. Everyone wanted him gone. Bruce Arians was like, no, keep this guy. And honestly, who would have anything could have happened? Maybe we would have won that playoff game. Brian Leftwich would have been the OC. Offense coordinator. And it was just like, come on, man. Come on. You can't be doing that. You're not even the head coach anymore. If you wanted to make these decisions, you should stay as a head coach. And it was just like, it was just a head shaker. I'm like, dude, like, I wanted to go home so much earlier. I'm like, dude, this game's fucking over.
Yeah, you got that feeling a lot. Yeah, by their performance on the field, but we'll see what happens this season.
This season is going to be a lot better, I think. And Tom Brady's energy last year just wasn't good. It wasn't there. And I think this year is going to be a lot better. Baker Mayfield, he's a great leader. A lot of people are saying he's cocky, he's arrogant. You look at, obviously, people are not looking at his press conferences, what he's doing in the community. Baker Mayfield, I love his leadership. I love his competitiveness. I will admit, he was arrogant in the past. You know what I mean? He had a high ego back then because he won the playoff game. Everyone's calling him the savior of the Browns, which I believe he was.
Yeah.
But now he's a little bit more mature. He learned from being benched last year with a couple of teams and have to grind and work his way up to be a starter. I think he's learned a lot from that, and I think it's helped him become a better leader. And how many people as a backup would be excited their team won with them being a backup? Like, even Bridgewater, I consider him a great leader. He was not happy. He was not even really involved with the team. He was on the sidelines, kind of just kind of stay away from the team because he wasn't a starter because of his significant injury with the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
So it really shows how much later he is, even as a backup. And Baker Mayfield, I think he's going to lead this team to the playoffs and or regardless, a good season. And this team to me is a 9 to 10 win season. Now that, like, obviously the tables could turn, Baker Mayfield could do bad, which I honestly don't think is going to happen. But anything's possible. But if my expectations, I have very low expectations because I really don't know what's going to happen. But, like, ideally, I think this team could be a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. And you might think I'm crazy for saying that, but look at a roster, look at the player, look at the leaders we have. Even if Todd Bowles does his job, and we got Dave Canales, who I think is going to turn out to be a great offensive coordinator, this team's going to be rocking this season.
Yeah, I agree. The Bucs are going to be a lot better than most people think. A lot of talent on both sides of the ball. They upgraded on both sides of the ball. They got a little more speed. They have more athleticism. Got some playmakers in the draft. So I'm expecting big things. And to be honest with you, there is no reason that this team can't win the division. This is probably the weakest division in football because the Saints acquired Derek Carr. Everybody's putting all their eggs in the New Orleans Saints basket. Well, let's not forget we got a pretty good team here in Tampa,
Yeah,
and I think that Baker Mayfield is one of the reasons that I'm optimistic about the Bucs doing well this season. I think the running game is going to be much improved. I think Rachaad White is going to have breakout season.
yeah.
Uh, he
Yeah.
was the best running back on the roster last half of the season. So, you got those two factors on the offense, and then I think the defense is going to be much improved with Todd Bowles getting a little more time to work with the defense and kind of focus on the defense. That's his area of specialty. I look for the defense to take another big leap forward this season. Shaq Barrett is going to be back. Now we don't know how good he's going to be early in the season. Sometimes a lot of players coming back from that type of injury and that kind of surgery kind of struggle a little bit, kind of getting the feel of the NFL game back. That's a pretty serious surgery, but just having his presence on the field and in the locker room as a leader, I think will go a long way. The one wild card on defense and the guy that I'm kind of really worried about is JTS.
Yeah.
He has not shown me much of anything the last couple of seasons, and he has got to have a good season this year. I mean, he's got to ball out, because if he doesn't, I think his days in Tampa are numbered.
Yeah, I think this would probably be his last season. And I had expectations, learning under Jason Pierre-Paul. He had a decent season as a backup when he started his last couple games when Jason Pierre-Paul was injured. And I was like, okay, this dude's probably gonna get like double digits this season or something, or close to it. Didn't do anything. Like, he was very quiet. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on this season, so I'll give him that. But this season, if he doesn't show up, that's it, man. You're not gonna be a Buccaneer after this year, because it's just because you gotta show up. Ultimately, I love him. He's a good leader, but ultimately, it's your play. You gotta play good. Leadership is one of the top qualities, but your play is everything. I mean, your performance is everything. So it's really up to him. He needs to step it up this season, and hopefully he's able to. And now to finish things up, I want to give an update. Streaming did not happen this Monday for obvious reasons. But this upcoming Monday, I will be starting my streaming on. I'm playing the old Madden 22, but I will begin the new game when it comes out. But as of right now, I'm going to be creating my ideal Buccaneers team. And you guys you get to watch how I do things, and you can interact with me and everything like that. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited to see how many people show up and start maybe getting more fans here in Youbucthat. And yeah, I'm excited. I haven't played Madden in many, many years, but I'm excited to have you guys on the journey with me, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be very good. But hope you guys enjoy this video. Like and subscribe, and hope you buck that.